Imagine this. You've poured your heart and soul into creating the perfect product, and you're finally ready to launch it. But instead of that big wave of excitement, you're met with crickets, silence, no sales, no buzz. What went wrong? The truth is, the success of your product launch doesn't just depend on how amazing your product is. It comes down to one crucial thing that most business owners overlook. And in today's video, I'm gonna share exactly what that is and how you can use it to make your launch a smashing success. Hi, I'm Jen Kem, founder of the Master Brand Institute. And here we guide founders, experts, thought leaders, and entrepreneurs to build wildly profitable personal brands from the inside out by using the power of team, identity, messaging, and experiences. In today's video, I'm gonna break down the one key element that determines whether your product launch will be a smashing success, as I said, or a disappointing flop. No one wants that, right? So today's video, I'm gonna break down the one key element that makes or breaks your product launch. It doesn't matter if you're launching a coaching business, a book, a brand new product. If you wanna cut through the noise, there's one crucial thing that you need. So let's get to it. First, let's get out the biggest misconception most business owners have when it comes to having a successful product or offer launch. I love this conversation because the biggest misconception out there is that a successful launch is all about the product itself. People think if they just build an amazing product, a perfect website, or a great coaching program, customers will magically show up. But that's not how it works. I always say a great product is like having the unicorn horn. It makes your offer special. But without the body of the unicorn, it just doesn't work. The product is only one piece of the puzzle. So many business owners pour all of their energy into the thing that they're launching, but forget to build the runway that they need to make sure that product takes off. It's like having a beautiful private plane sitting on the tarmac with no airstrip to actually get it into the air. And unless you have hovercraft technology, the truth is success isn't just about creating that great product. It's about creating an experience that brings people along for the ride. What is the one thing that a successful launch needs, and why is it crucial? Well, it comes down to rallying the right people around that actual product idea. This is what I teach as the essence of what I call your unicorn team. Having a tribe of people who are excited to see you succeed. And if there's one thing that makes or breaks a launch, it's the ability to build a community who are ready to support you, cheer for you, and take action when you give them direction to launch. It's crucial because no matter how amazing your product is, it's the people around it that give it momentum. It's about creating connection, excitement, and trust well before launch day. Your audience wants to feel like they're part of something much bigger, like they're a part of what I call your unicorn team. They want to feel connected to your story, your journey, and your success. And that means building anticipation, telling your story, and involving them in the process. When people feel emotionally invested, they're not just buying a product, they're buying into that vision that you have. And they want to be part of that magic. So remember, it's not just about having the perfect product, it's about having your people ready, excited, and waiting for it. So I'm gonna use a story that most of us are gonna recognize, and I'm doing that on purpose because when I tell you this story, you might go, oh, that doesn't apply to me, that's a big, big business. But actually it does apply to you because every person with a great idea started out in the same place, either a garage, across from your kitchen table, or in a cafe where you were talking off the ear of somebody that you were telling your ideas to, right? And some of those ideas came from people like Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple. When we think about Steve Jobs, if you know anything about the guy, people would say he's pretty intense. He was a masterful strategizer, and he had big, big ideas that people didn't even understand yet. And that's just like you and me, same thing. We all have that inner Steve Jobs. Like we have this big vision and we know people need it, but we want to get it out there and we realize we need people to help us get there. So one of the things Steve Jobs is really good at is rallying people around his ideas. He really wanted to give people a creative option outside of what he felt was totally boring, totally not innovative, and that meant like the basic PC and frankly Microsoft. All of that is boring. It doesn't pull into our natural creative selves. And so he wanted the Mac back in the day to be that product that helped people have a different choice, that was cooler, was more innovative, that made people feel good about personal creativity and personal computing, because most people at that time only used their computer at work. And he knew the power of bringing that into the home. I can talk about a ton of stories of all the different products that Steve Jobs brought to life through Apple, but the point I want to make is that he got that done not just because he's the rock star. Certainly he is one of the unicorns on the team, but it was the other unicorns. Steve Wozniak, who was the geeky engineer software builder who actually built the Macintosh software and the actual machine, right? It was all of the people who are in the marketing department who helped make sure that people did really cool ideas, including, if any of you remember, one of the most popular advertisements of all time, even for those of you like who think the 1990s or the late 1900s, everybody kind of remembers the 1984 Macintosh ad. It is, if you don't know, look it up. It's like iconic. And it made a big statement on how the world was moving forward. And my point is that you can go into your inner Steve Jobs and figure that out. Now let's talk about a failure, because Apple has not won at everything that they've put out there. In fact, one of the biggest failures that they had was when, Steve Jobs transitioned, meaning he died, he left behind his legacy and made Apple one of the most valuable brands in the world. In fact, Apple has more money than God now, okay? So they can afford to make a lot of mistakes. But one of the mistakes they made when he left, and he appointed his chief operations officer to lead the company, right? His name is Tim Cook. And Tim Cook is a really sharp dude, and he understood that there were already great ideas to build upon, but he knew that it was his job to make sure that the company continued to be profitable well after its founder's death, right? Steve Jobs. Well, he started to make some moves that were kind of like weird. Like if you are an Apple head, if you're the kind of person who like loves the Apple brand, there were some moves that were made, like for example, a weird little dongle that you had to kind of like put into your iPhone to actually put your headphones in. This is when headphones were still wired and not just wireless. And that was an example of, if it were Steve Jobs, he would have never said, let's go create this little dongle that is so easy to lose, right? But Tim Cook, very smart guy, but he was just looking for a basic solution while they were in between versions of the iPhone. And so that's an example of a failure, right? They launched it, people hated it, they had to scramble to fix it, and in fact, it then created a better idea, which became their wireless earphones, okay? So I give you that example because, again, from a mainstream perspective, we all understand that brand, but your ideas, even if it's to create something that makes sure that your coffee stays hot, or you wanna solve like the water or the clean water problem, right? Whatever your great idea is, the bottom line is Steve Jobs did not do it alone, and neither is Tim Cook, as now the CEO of Apple. And so you don't have to build a $1 trillion brand like them, but any idea that changes the world started with that seed and understanding what's worth pursuing and what's worth letting go on. But here's the cool thing. One core thing that they did, and that I hope you take away from the story, is that they built a crazy community, right? People who love Apple, right? And even if you think, oh, who's gonna have that kind of crazy loyalty to me? You don't need 1 million people. You just need a few unicorns who will help you build the community around your idea so that the new ideas you have will launch with the power it takes to soar. So, if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up so more entrepreneurs and leaders like you can find the support they need to launch successfully. And before you leave, I want to invite you to join our community by taking our Brand Archetype quiz linked in the description below. It's the first step in discovering your unique strengths and understanding how to best connect with your audience to make your next launch a huge success. I'm Jen Kem, and I'm here to guide you in building the wealth, power, and leadership that you're meant to bring into the world. Until next time, let's make those big ideas soar.